Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. They make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch or like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I will be reviewing the F.P.Journe Élégante collection, the Titalyt Ref ELT caliber 1210. At 40 millimeters with a white dial. I will tell you a little bit about the brief overview of this watch and its similar collections. And then I'll tell you about the case, bezel dial, bracelet movement, finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start. Well, let's start with this. F.P.Journe has not been around for a very long time. I want to say something like 20 years or so. And it's one of the brands that has come about in the recent years. It has really exploded and has done very well. There are other ones that have come to mind are Richard Mille, that has only been around for something like 25 years. And F.P.Journe has been around approximately around the same. So it's a very new company. But in that short period of time, they've really risen to one of the top brands. Now, I would put, for example, Rolex, Patek, Audemars Piguet all at the top of the list. And I would include, in fact, Richard Mille in there because they are also breaking the $1 billion mark when it comes to revenue. And then there's a lot of other little small independents. But the biggest one that comes to mind is F.P.Journe. And they only make around 900 to 1,000 watches a year. And they've only been around for 25 years, something like that. But they have really made, in the recent years, a really big splash in the independent watch market. Okay, and so as a result, their secondary market markup from original retail is quite a bit above list. Almost every watch that they sells above list. Not every, but almost. All right. All right, so let's take you through that then. So of their collection, what kind of collections do they have? Well, they have their basic classic collection, which is a circular watch. Then they have their line sport, which is a very sporty looking watch. And then they have their Élégante. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Élégante. That's how it sounds or it's written. And the Élégante is going to be quite a special line. Basically 3 lines. There's a lot of variations in each of those 3, but we're going to focus on the Élégante, which is what we're looking at right here. All right. And originally they were making these Élégante more for women, and they were making it with diamonds and such, but they have several configurations like the one that you're looking at here that are for men, actually. And they look manly, as you can see, is titanium with a little bit of a twist to it. They'll get to that, in just a moment. But okay, anyways, so that's a little bit about the history and a little bit brief overview. So let's start talking about the watch itself. All right, let's start with this. The watch is a titanium flat tortue case. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. That tortue, I guess, means this sort of, it's kind of like a tonneau shaped in a Richard Mille, which has a very rectangular shape, but it's not exactly rectangular, and it's not exactly square. So I guess they come up with this fancy name. Now, I'm a native speaker of English. I never heard this word. Tortue, I guess that's what they're calling it. It's kind of like a rectangle, kind of like a square, kind of has these curved edges. Anyways, tortue means what you look at, and when you're looking at this right here, it's a pretty novel way to make a watch case, and F.P.Journe has done a great job of it. In fact, they really made their Élégante line quite popular as a result, and probably has a lot to do with this really interesting shape. And I don't know of any other watch brand that is really using this shape. Now, Cartier makes some really cool square ones and rectangular ones, or tonneau shape, I guess you could say, but I don't know anyone that's making this tortue case. Okay, so anyways, let's start talking about it. What are the dimensions? It's 40 millimeters from top to bottom, okay, and 35 from left to right. So from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock is 35 millimeters, and from top to bottom is 40 millimeters. Makes sense. It's a little bit longer, 12 to 6 than it is 3 to 9. And the height, or the profile, you could say, is only 7 millimeters. Now, you might be wondering, how do they make the profile so thin at 7 millimeters? Well, I'll get to it when I talk about the movement, but basically it's a quartz movement. Yes, you would never think that a watch of this caliber and this price point would have a quartz movement, but F.P.Journe has really redefined the way that quartz movements are working, and I'll get to that when I start talking about it. But let's take a little bit more look at this case that we're looking at and see what else is special about this case. Well, why would you want to get a case like this? Okay, well, first of all, it has this tortue shaped shape to it, and that's pretty interesting. The lugs are quite interesting, and let's turn it on the side profile. Also has kind of a different look. You don't really see this look, but what is the most interesting is it is titanium, but they have what F.P.Journe calls, I'm sure I'm going to pronounce it incorrect, but it's called the Titalyt. Okay, I guess that's a. I'll respell it off for you. Titalyt. I don't know how to pronounce that. I couldn't find it anywhere. Titalyt, or something like that. It's a treatment that they do to the titanium, so it doesn't look so gray. In fact, it starts to look blackish, and it helps prevent it from scratching so much. And so now you have a very manly looking watch with a very cool treatment done to it, which they call the Titalyt treatment. Okay, all right, so that's the case, and also, of course, very well done. Now let's take a look at the dial here. The dial is also quite interesting in that the entire center is luminescent. That's right, the entire center is luminescent. Let me show this slide out as you can see, but it is luminescent quite center, and with outer dial screws in steel. Okay, so you have layered a dial with a center main, as you can obviously luminescent. And in this 4 o'clock position, it's right at 4:30 or so, you have a very interesting little thing. It's like an open, you look at it and you go, what is that? Did they forget to finish the dial or something? That actually is a sensor to determine when the watch is moving. So that is pretty cool. You don't get, I'll tell you about that in a second. It's a motion detector with inertia weight visible inside the dial. And I'll tell you about why that is in just a moment. Okay, so the rest of it is pretty standard. I mean, you have the blue hands, which is a typical F.P.Journe hands, a dial that is entirely luminous. I've actually never seen that on any other one, so that is pretty special. And it has this little strange opening here at 4 o'clock, which I just told you is a motion sensor. We'll get to that in a second. So all this stuff is really making this quite an interesting, strange, different watch. Okay, let's move on to the movement. Now, here's where things get really interesting, probably the most interesting here. The movement, as I told you, how do they keep a size of 7 millimeters? Well, it's because the movement is actually quartz, meaning it uses a battery to run it. But what is the interesting thing is normally on quartz movements, when they ask, like, I don't know, 2, 3 years, maybe a little bit longer, but this one can last up to 16 years and 8 to 9 under normal usage. And why is that? Well, it's because the movement continues to work all the time, 24/7. However, the hands and everything stops is the watch is not picked up after 35 minutes. So 35 minutes, boom, all the hands stop. And then let's say 2 or 3 days or a month goes by, it's still telling time, it's using the microprocessor inside to keep the time, but then it doesn't change the hands. So it doesn't waste battery on moving hands when people aren't looking at it. And then all of a sudden, if you pick it up, that's right, in the front, it has that motion sensor. It can tell that it's been picked up, and then the hands will automatically move to the fastest way to get to the current time. What a smart innovation, actually. Okay, and actually, another thing is, usually on watches, you cannot see the quartz movement. F.P.Journe has decided that they're going to open up the quartz movement. It actually looks pretty darn cool. And I read on their website, they do all this stuff in-house. So not only are they making amazing, automatic movements, they're taking quartz movements to the next level by showcasing them, making them beautiful, bringing them into the modern era, and then having this really interesting way to store the time. So that, what this practically means is it doesn't need to be serviced very often, if ever. So you pump a battery in, it stays, it's going to be like this for the next, 8, 10 years with no service. All you have to do is take it out and change the battery. And yeah, quite cool. Okay, so that is the movement. Quite an interesting thing. there. Okay, the strap, actually the strap is interchangeable. This one happens to be orange. It could be, on the website, they have all these different colors, white, black, blue, whatever. Yeah, and this one happens to be orange, also a cool color to it. And it has this deployment buckle, not too, pretty standard here. Okay. Alrighty, so that's it. That brings us to the end of the video. So, I mean, now it's time for me to give you my thoughts. Now, I like Journe. I'm not a massive fan of it, but I think it's a very cool watch. And as I just said at the beginning, being an independent brand, they are probably the #1 independent brand out there. There's many more. Moser, there's a lot of them out there, but this is the #1, and #1 in terms of holding price. It's prestige. It's selling above market value. It looks also, etc., etc. So they're doing really good, and if they continue on this route, they probably will be a very, formidable watch for me. Of the lines that F.P.Journe have, they have either this one, the Élégante, which is interesting and different, or they have the classic line. Not everyone, but classic line is classic. But if you want something a little bit out the box, something different, this will definitely be a cool watch that you could get. And with the idea that you can change all these straps and make it, look all different, I think it's quite cool. So look, if you want to buy this watch at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazzdime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on show more to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on the mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazzdime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.